Does MCP replace RAG? It sounds like a smart question, but it compares two different layers of an AI system. RAG helps the system retrieve the right knowledge for a response. MCP gives the application a standard way to reach external capabilities. And here is the part most comparisons miss. An MCP server can expose access to a RAG service. So MCP does not have to replace RAG. It can connect the application to it. By the end of this video, you will know when to use RAG only, when to use MCP only, when to combine them, and when both are unnecessary. Let's prove it with one employee request. Imagine someone asks an AI assistant, how many vacation days do I have left? What does the company policy say about carrying them over? And can you submit next Friday as PTO? That sounds like one request. Architecturally, it contains three different jobs: knowledge, personal data, action. The assistant must find the relevant policy. It must retrieve the employee's current PTO balance, and it must submit a request into the HR system. Treat those as one technical problem and you will probably build the wrong system. So first, what does RAG actually solve? A language model does not automatically know your private HR handbook. It may understand vacation policies in general, but it does not know whether your company allows 5 unused days to roll over or none. RAG retrieves relevant external evidence and supplies that evidence to the model so it can generate a better grounded response. For our employee assistant, the system searches the HR knowledge base, finds the carryover policy, places the relevant passage into context, and asks the model to answer from that evidence. That is RAG's job. Select the knowledge this request needs, then use it during generation. And RAG is not just a vector database. The retrieval layer could use semantic search, keyword search, hybrid search, metadata filters, structured queries, re-ranking, or several of them together. Calling every database lookup RAG is how architecture diagrams start needing therapy. The real question is, did the system retrieve external evidence and supply it to the model to shape the answer? If yes, you may be looking at RAG. But RAG still has not checked the employee's life balance or submitted anything. That is where the next layer appears. MCP is an open standard for connecting AI applications to external systems. Its architecture includes a host, clients, and servers. Servers can expose tools, resources, and prompts. Tools let the model invoke functions. Resources provide contextual data. Prompts provide reusable interaction templates. For this HR system, an MCP server might expose a tool called Get PTO Balance and another called Submit PTO Request. The first reads live employee data. The second performs an action. MCP standardizes how the AI application discovers and communicates with those capabilities. But MCP does not decide how to chunk the HR handbook. It does not choose semantic search over keyword search. It does not re-rank policy passages. And it does not decide which evidence should ground the final answer. MCP gives the assistant a standardized door. It does not organize everything inside the room. So now we have the first clean distinction. RAG solves request-specific knowledge retrieval for generation. MCP solves standardized access to external capabilities. Now let's map the full employee request. How many vacation days do I have left? Use the HR capability to fetch the current balance. What does the policy say about carrying them over? Use RAG to retrieve the relevant policy evidence. Can you submit next Friday as PTO? Use an action tool with the right authorization and user confirmation. One sentence from the employee. 3 jobs inside the system. But where exactly does MCP end and RAG begin? Here is the reveal that resolves the comparison. Imagine your company already has a mature knowledge service. It handles document ingestion, permissions, hybrid retrieval, re-ranking, citations, and evaluation. Now 4 different AI applications need it. An internal assistant, a support agent, an IDE extension, and a coding assistant. You could build a custom integration for every application. Or you could expose that retrieval capability through an MCP server. Now the architecture becomes AI application, MCP client, knowledge MCP server, RAG service, search and re-ranking, relevant evidence returned to the application. In this architecture, MCP defines how the capability is exposed and invoked. RAG defines how the knowledge is selected and used. MCP did not replace RAG. It gave multiple AI clients a standard way to reach it. Asking whether MCP replaces RAG is like asking whether an API replaces the search engine behind it. The interface and the retaliation strategy belong to different layers. If you like architecture-first AI explanations, subscribe to Sambit Automation Labs. Now let's test the distinction against 4 real cases, because one of them shows when adding MCP actually makes the design worse. Case 1. RAG without MCP. Suppose your team owns one application. Its backend directly calls its own retrieval service. The service searches the knowledge base, returns relevant passages, and supplies them to the model. No other AI client needs to discover that capability. No shared protocol layer is required. Adding MCP here may create another component without solving a real problem. Verdict: RAG only. Use a direct integration when one control application owns the complete retrieval pipeline. Case 2. MCP without RAG. Suppose an assistant checks a calendar, creates a ticket, runs a calculation, or updates a task. Those capabilities can be exposed through MCP tools. But there may be no document retrieval and no evidence being supplied to the model for generation. External access does not automatically mean RAG. Verdict: MCP only. Use MCP when the application needs a consistent way to access tools or data, but no request-specific knowledge retrieval pipeline is required. Case 3. RAG behind MCP. Suppose several AI clients need the same enterprise knowledge system. An MCP server exposes the retrieval capability. Behind it, a dedicated RAG service manages permissions, search, re-ranking, citations, and evaluation. Client teams integrate through MCP. The retrieval team improves the RAG system independently. Verdict: MCP plus RAG. MCP standardizes access, RAG performs retrieval. This is not duplication, it is composition. Case 4. Neither. Suppose the user says, rewrite this paragraph in a more professional tone. The text is already present. No external evidence needs to be selected. No external system needs to be called. A prompt and a model may be enough. Not every request needs a vector database, 3 servers, and a small distributed systems conference. Verdict: neither. Sometimes the best architecture decision is refusing to add architecture. There is one final boundary: security. MCP can standardize access to tools, but it does not remove the need for authorization, consent, validation, least privilege access, and safe tool execution. Reading a policy is one thing. Submitting PTO, changing a database, or sending an email creates real consequences. A standardized door is useful. A standardized door with no lock is a security incident with better documentation. Official MCP security guidance specifically warns against issues such as token pass-through, confused deputy risks, and excessive authorization scopes. Now we can reduce the entire comparison to 3 questions. Question 1. Does the model need external evidence selected specifically for this request? If yes, use a retrieval strategy. RAG may be appropriate. Question 2. Does the application need a standard way to discover or invoke an external capability? If yes, MCP may be appropriate. Question 3. Does that external capability itself perform retrieval for generation? If yes, use MCP to expose the RAG capability. That produces 4 outcomes. External knowledge but no shared capability layer, RAG with direct integration. External tools or live data but no evidence retrieval pipeline, MCP without RAG. A shared retrieval service used by multiple AI clients, MCP and RAG together. No retrieval and no external capability, use neither. Do not compare RAG and MCP as competing products. Place them in the correct layers of the system. RAG answers, how do I retrieve the right knowledge for the model? MCP answers, how does my AI application reach an external capability through a standard interface? RAG can exist without MCP. MCP can exist without RAG. And a RAG service can sit behind MCP as one reusable capability. Retrieve with RAG. Connect with MCP. Compose both when the system needs knowledge and action.